Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Fredrickson, and this is the Business Profiles. And before we begin, I've got a great guest for you, by the way, a wonderful business. We're doing this in the afternoon. I have a little bit of allergies going on. Do you? Huh? Some of you do. And so my voice is kind of here and there and everywhere. So my guest is going to do most of the talking, but she doesn't know that yet. But I have a great guest, good friend, Yvette Nunez from Azteca de Oro. Good afternoon, or buenas tardes. Welcome to see you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Richard. Buenas tardes to all of you. And yes. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy that you're here. And for all of those folks out there, both on YouTube and on Channel 6, that may or may not be familiar with Azteca de Oro, let's familiarize them with where you're located, what your address is, and then right up front, all your contact information. Because we'll repeat that, but let's get it out of the way so folks know, where is this place?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for asking. Azteca de Oro, which is a family-owned banquet hall, is located at 1013 Collins Street, just next to the old prison. We have been there now for over 15 years and counting, thankfully. So we're 1013 Collins in Joliet, Far East Side, and happy to be there, serving all of the community.
You bet. And just we'll talk about this later, but you're right adjacent to the now famous Joliet prison, and we'll talk about how that kind of works out for you as well, or did last year, and hopefully will again later on this year. So, what do you do at Azteca de Oro? What happens there? Usually,
typically what happens at Azteca de Oro is many events from weddings, quinceañeras, sweet 16s, graduations, birthday parties, a little bit of everything. And many public dances, which we love to host, are normally on Fridays. And our capacity, which has made us quite famous in the area, is for 750 people. So as you can imagine, on a very busy weekend, Azteca de Oro is very busy. And I am one of the sales managers there. Happy to assist everyone and anyone.
You bet. And the other thing is there's plenty of parking. I mean, there's a huge parking area, well lit and perfectly located. And I drove by it today, by the way, and the landscaping, it's gorgeous out there. You've done a great job with the landscaping around the parking area. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we do have very ample parking. We do keep it safely lit. There's always security also doing roundabouts at night for all the vehicles and just for everyone's safety. And we are conveniently located just minutes from 80 and minutes from 355. So it's a very good centralized location.
Yeah. Do I recall that wasn't there an original location before you moved to Collins Street?
Yes, there was an original location. We were actually located at 123 East Van Buren, for those that remember. It was the old Joe's Hall. Again, that was before they built the stadium that's now there of the Slammers. We were there. We bought that facility and were operated there for about 2 or 3 years before the city bought us out and decided to build that new facility there for the Slammers.
So is Azteca de Oro, is that a family-owned business?
It is. It's 2 brothers and a nephew that is family-owned and operated.
Yeah. So are you a niece, second cousin twice removed?
I am one of the owner's daughters there. Yes. And I've been there since day one that we opened.
Yeah. So they probably had you working there behind the scenes when you were going to school.
That's right. I was going to school and working there on the weekends, working the door, serving all the soft drinks, restocking, cleaning, a little bit of everything. You have to know all the trades in the business.
Yeah, and you do. Before we get into this year, tell me a bit, what was last year like, and all the way up to, let's say, February 29th of 2020. What was business like?
Well, business, and you've touched a good subject, up to February 29th of 2020. So our business usually on Friday evenings would be public dances. Saturdays, as I had mentioned, is always weddings, quinceañeras, baptisms. We have 2 joint banquet halls. One has a a capacity of 750 people, as I previously mentioned. And the other has a capacity of 120 people. So we have a lot of smaller functions there, even from small weddings and baptisms and, small little ceremonies, varying up to anything that it could be. So, and then Sundays we have our public dances, which we charge admission for, and anyone is able, we're all ages, so anyone is able to come in and enjoy live music. Usually it's international bands that would come from Mexico. And our business was fabulous Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up until March, actually, up until Friday, March 13th. How funny, right? How coincidental. Up until Friday, March 13th of this year.
So you've been closed since then? We
have been closed since then. Our doors have been closed, sadly, but have been closed since then.
Wow.
Due to the COVID.
I might mention, you mentioned all those events that you have, in an address to the Collins Street Special Service Area. The Joliet City Center Partnership was welcomed. We had at least one meeting there, I recall, maybe two, but one meeting there, which was well attended by the community. We're going to talk about the COVID effect, of course, but recently, this will be on all week long. But last week we had those storms rolling in. And any damage of your property or anything around the area that was sustained damage?
Thank you for asking, and thank you for your concern. Fortunately, we had no damage, no wind damage, no hail damage. I was not in the facility at the time of the storm, but afterwards we did do our roundabouts, and everything seemed pretty normal up until now. Of course, because we haven't been operating, then I'm not able to tell you if there's some damage maybe that we are not aware of.
Yeah.
But visibly, we did not see any.
Yeah, you have to check the roof because we had hail last week too. Before we continue, in the pre-rehearsal and kind of technical stuff we do with Saul Garcia, there was mention of other people who were on Zoom prior to you getting the Zoom room. Who were those little people?
My 4 little ones have access to my Zoom, of course. They use our laptop, our phone. Sometimes their times coincide. So we have it set up on everything. I have 4 little ones, 8, 7, 6, and 4.
You are so young. And I'm going to tell you, you are so young and so beautiful. It's great to know you and call you as a friend. And we hope that, soon we'll be able to look back on this interview and say, I can't believe all that took place.
Thank you. Thank
you.
So
I guess the question would be, I kind of know the answer, but how's this virus affected scheduled events? Well, now we'll talk about late spring, all of the summer, fall, and into the winter. How's it affected you? Are you cancellations or rescheduling?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, I'm going to start on a positive note. This will be the first summer that I'm able to enjoy with my kids, enjoying weekends, enjoying the entire day, being in the pool and not rushing to get out and having to go to work and be at work and coming home at 3, 4 in the morning, from a 12-hour, 13, even 14-hour shift, because it's a lot that takes into one event, that we really don't consider. But so it's a nice opportunity for me to spend with my kids and just enjoy them and enjoy all the wonderful benefits that we have that we take for granted. So on the upside, I'm thankful for that. And on the downside for the business, it's been very unfortunate as for all of our clients that have been waiting anxiously for their day to come, their graduation day, their wedding day, their quinceañera day, their sweet 16, their children's baptism. It's very sad to have to speak to these people. And unfortunately, we can't open our doors yet. I mean, they know that we're there. Our reputation, speaks for itself. The business, fortunately, has a name for itself. And, people are just waiting anxiously for us to open. But for many people, it's been rescheduling events and just rescheduling. We've had clients already reschedule 2 times, thinking before it was recognized as a pandemic that that we would be opening our doors sooner. But we're seeing that this is just kind of dragging along, and considering that we're in the fifth phase, again, because of our large occupancy, we know that the wait may be delayed. So here we are, just waiting for everything, waiting for the green light, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Well, here's something to ponder, which would be historic. I can't properly pronounce it, so I'm not going to try, but there are 16-year-old girls. If you reschedule that event the next year, they'll be 17. What are you going to do with that?
That's a funny question, but I'm going to tell you, it actually goes the other way. Because we celebrate the quinceañera, which is the 15th birthday.
15th. Okay.
Exactly. It kind of speaks for itself. So now they're making the Sweet 16 instead of the quinceañera.
That's great. That's great.
Yes, we're able to work that out. And for many of the brides-to-be, again, many of them understand and just waiting to go with it, are probably, some are scheduling a year out. Others are kind of just playing with the dates and seeing what, life is going to bring to us, and see where this goes. As everything, we're taking it day by day.
So this virus certainly has affected you for not only now, but also all of June, July, August, September. We don't know what happens in October, November, December, but hopefully better days are coming. Not a year from now either, hopefully. We get some of this opportunity for you to open up somewhere in the fall or early winter, I would think. Maybe earlier. I know there's some venues that can open up with 50 people, but I mean, you can't pay the light bill with 50 people.
That's right. And we are a banquet hall that actually rents out its space.
To who are the?
Because we rent out the space, people like to take advantage of that and have very large amounts of guests come to our facility, which is what we are known for. So usually the parties that we have are more than 350 guests, which is not typically known, in an American in an American community where you're paying for a plated dinner and for so many other luxuries. Here, a lot of people like to take advantage of our large dance floor and the hours that we also accommodate them, which are very convenient, from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. Other facilities don't start until 6 p.m. and end at midnight. So I don't know. I think for us, maybe business will be picking up more. And that will be because people are going to look for a larger establishment where they can actually accommodate their guests, since at the smaller facilities, they're going to be filling up so much quicker because the occupancy may be limited. So we will see. We will see what that brings us.
Which is a good transition, and for us to stop and pause for just a moment, let the folks who are watching and listening for booking availability for 2020, 21, maybe that contact information. Many are just hearing, believe it or not, I know you're well known, but maybe this group of people watching right now may not know about this great venue on the east side of Joliet. By the way, they may not know you, but in the coming years and last year, thousands of world travelers got to see you because you're right next to, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit, the Collins Street Prison. How about some booking availabilities? Is there still opportunities for people with all the rescheduling going on?
Absolutely. There are still booking availabilities. Please give us a call. We're available, 630-417-5912. You can speak to me directly. Again, my name is Yvette, 630-417-5912. You can also reach us on the Facebook page at 1013 Azteca. We're available there 24/7. And I'll be happy to chat with you about our availability and what we can offer.
Yeah. Do you know offhand how many followers you have on your Facebook page?
Yes, we actually have, I'm going to say 13,000.
Yeah. I looked on that and I said, I'm going to ask that question because I think there's a lot of people who have, because you don't have a web page, but you've got that Facebook. And I think when you have that Facebook, you almost almost don't need the web page because people can go there. And if you look up Google, or if you look up any of those search engines, Azteca de Oro pops right up for everybody to
Yes.
serve knowledge. Yeah. Here's a challenge, and I don't know what your answer will be. What happens to your employees during all this pandemic?
That's a good question, Richard. And actually, I am thankful to say that our employees have not been majorly affected by the COVID. We are a second gig for about 80% of our employees. So it's their side job, or many, are just on call, depending on how big our events are or how small they are, depending how many employees we will need for that event, staffing and whatnot. So I don't feel bad for all of our employees. I feel bad because I miss them. And for me, it's a pleasure always working with them on the weekends. But as far as in them being on unemployment or having a lack of employment, I think that keeping the communication open with them and letting them know that, we're ready to go, that as soon as we get the green light, from the governor, we're good and we're going to start back up. Just keeping that communication open with them, and they're looking forward to us having events again.
Yeah, I've often thought about banquet halls and the staff, both in the kitchen and behind the bar, and then the serving staff. As you said, many of these folks have second gigs or second jobs. How challenging is it, though, to schedule this personnel? Let's put the virus aside for a moment, okay? You have a wedding coming up on July 1st, and you get the call today or the 30th of June or the 15th of June, and the bride calls up and says, you know what? It's off. Or she calls up and says, what's your earliest date? And you say, well, the 25th of June. And it's how do you do that? Or do you do that? You kind of schedule your people in at last minute, or 3 months ahead of schedule? Do they confirm that they would be there for you? Is that the kind of relationship you have with your employees?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. We don't plan that far out ahead. Okay, so I may take we may do a contract today for a year out, and we don't know who's going to be working then. I know I need to count on myself. I know that I need to count on, the other person next to me. So I know those two, have to be there, and we will be there. There's no doubt about it. We're going to do everything to be there. But as far as the rest of the staff, we just go on it week by week. We usually find out about midweek how many guests we're expecting for that event taking place, or for the events taking place that weekend. We'll staff on a Tuesday, and then just like every other business in the hospitality industry, and just like the restaurant business and everything else, it's a lot of turnover. It's a lot of turnover because it's weekends. It's
Sure.
Long hours, it's holidays, and it's the time that everyone wants to stay with their families. However, in my end, I've learned to take advantage of that and enjoy the weekdays with my family more peacefully, more relaxed, and take advantage for the business essence of all the people that you do have on those holidays coming and waiting to come out, and party or celebrate whatever event they're having.
Yeah, when you have all these events going on, I was going to ask you, you just answered the question. So your weekend would be like Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing, rather than Saturday, Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Usually my time off is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday,
Ooh.
I am dead and not in the office.
You get 3 days.
Yeah. I mean,
All
after
right.
you've worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you're there until 3, 4 in the morning, we close at 2 on Fridays and Sundays, and Saturdays we close at 3. So by the time you get out of there and you clean your bar up, it's 4 in the morning. You're getting home 4:30.
Oh, yeah. In a land far, far away, I was a bartender at a catering place in Aurora, Illinois, many, many, many years ago. And we would close at 2. And I'd be there, cleaning up till almost 4 o'clock, and get home at 4:30. So
That's
it's
right.
a long day in the world of hospitality and the venues that are throughout the Chicagoland area. Where do you folks come from? Are they all local? When they book events, are these Will County people or Chicago people or South Suburban people, and they find you?
Thankfully, our reputation is very well known. All of our business is word of mouth, and our clients are from everywhere. Our clients are from Aurora, from Chicago, Plainfield, Bridgeview. They are from, they come from all over, even from Indiana. People that have known us for years, have been with us for years, celebrating or have celebrated with us. So-and-so's quinceañera, and now back for their daughter's graduation, or are now ready to celebrate the next quinceañera because they got married there, or so-and-so. So we're grateful for all that business, much return business.
You mentioned earlier in our talk about the bands being international bands, or many of them from Mexico. How do you do that? How do you book those bands from Mexico and then come all the way to Joliet? What's the process between that?
A good question, Richard, and I'm glad you asked. I do not book bands personally. We work with a promoter in the area, and then we're able to bring those events to our facility and offer them to our community.
Because I know, probably won't do it this year, but the Chamber has that downtown Fiesta en Calle. When is that? Usually August or something like that. And those are all, for the most part, all international bands that come down.
That is correct.
So they fly them into Midway Airport?
They fly them into Midway and O'Hare. They stay at the local hotels, or they might stay out in that area. And then they have transportation to bring them and take them back after their performance. Yes.
Okay. So what's the learning curve for you personally, and then the company, the family owners? Have you processed any of the thinking about any changes that would take place in the future with Azteca de Oro?
We haven't thought about any changes right now. I think right now, really just depending on what the governor says here, I think we're going to have to wait for those limitations, wait for those restrictions. And as far as in the learning curve that you asked me, well, it never stops. We never stop learning. Every event is an experience. Every event is different. Every event has its own guests. They all have their own expectations. And we're just here to try to accommodate everyone, and we try to work with everyone as closely as we can, and really meeting and exceeding their needs as much as we can.
Yeah. So all your advertising basically word of mouth or on Facebook, that's it, right?
All of our advertising has only been word of mouth. That's it. We're very grateful for that.
So who is taking advantage of this long vacation that you all have been on to go a month or two ago to places a little bit warmer south of the border? Anybody take a little vacation? You must have relatives down there, right?
Absolutely, we do, and all the owners have taken advantage of that. They all travel very often to Mexico, back and forth. Right now, they're traveling, I think, is all at a halt. I think they all have some fear in one way or another, and just kind of trying to hold themselves back. But again, as I mentioned, at home with the grandchildren, taking advantage of the facilities we have at home, the privileges we have at home, what we take for granted, or what we're always leaving behind on the weekends, or the people that we're always leaving behind on the weekends. Really now just spending time with them. That's
great. Just an ever so brief background. I know you mentioned that you worked as a kid at the venue, both probably downtown as well as this 15-year-old one.
Yes.
Azteca de Oro. But was it something that you always wanted to do? I mean, was there something, you're a girl going to grade school or high school? Was this the direction that you were looking at?
Funny that you ask. I actually have my bachelor's in hospitality and tourism management. So I always wanted to be in the field. I've always been in the field. I worked hotels and restaurants before coming to this banquet hall, before working for my parents or for the family. So it's an industry that I've always enjoyed. Working weekends, I started at a travel agency while I was going to school. And I've been doing that since I was 15.
Wow.
So that's all I've known. I have no complaints about the weekends and or holidays. It's always just been part of the deal for me.
I love these interviews because it gives you an opportunity to showcase someone who's a real model for young women, young girls who may catch this. And I would suggest that those of you who are watching, if you do have some young girls, some young women who, are either going to junior college or maybe at high school, even in the 8th, 7th, 8th grade, and what are they going to do for the future? Because once this gets done, there's going to be a huge transition, I think, in the hospitality industry, because there's, like you say, a lot of people will be going elsewhere because they need jobs, they need money. But then opening up, I think this weekend, to some measure, Vegas is opening up, and there'll be other areas that'll be opening up slowly but surely. So all kinds of opportunities in the hospitality arena, not so much at this very moment, but in the future. So I want to thank you, and I know you also participate in community outreach. I know that you're a member of the Joliet City Center Partnership Board, and we appreciate that. Are there any other community outreaches that you and or the company reaches out to in the community?
There are no other groups or outreaches that we are involved in. I have enough with 4 extracurricular activities and my little ones. And I had mentioned, working on the weekends. So my availability, I'm always there. I'm always seriously on my phone. I'm answering emails. I'm answering Facebook. I'm answering any and all inquiries. I am there. But physically not involved in any other groups or associations.
Well, I kind of trapped you there because this is where I was going, that the company, family, you have certainly been an assist and help, first of all, with the partnership, but for the Joliet, Collins Street Prison, the tourists, the events they've had in the last 2 years, where would all those people park? I know there's other lots, but not like yours. And I believe that there was parking right there at Azteca de Oro. And if I recall, people could just park there. I don't think there was any parking fees, were there?
No, there were no parking fees. We openly offered that to the community, just as it was actually very coincidental that we did not have an event booked for that particular day. So yes, the people were able to come right in, park. It was well lit in the evening once they left the event there, able to cross the street and, be at the prison and enjoy the event. And it was very nice for us to be able to have that there. So, yes.
Well, it was a great improvement to have that, and hopefully in the future years it'll be there as well. I'm talking with, and have been talking with Yvette Nunez and family from Azteca de Oro. I thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you, and hopefully in a couple of months, couple of weeks, things change. And when they do, let me know, and we'll let everyone on the WJOL side as well as this side too. Let them know that things are happening. Okay.
Absolutely. Again, if you got stuck with your event, need, or are looking for somewhere else to host your event, our occupancy, keep it in mind, it's 750 people. So again, we do have the space for those 375 guests that you're looking to have. Give us a call, 630-417-5912.
And check out Facebook for you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yvette, thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I'm Richard Fredrickson, and this has been Business Profiles.